Good evening, Graham Healy here, and I'm just going to do a short video with that introduction on instant counterattack with proportionate legal response and based on integrity. Alright, all says it in the beginning of this. Now, I'm basically just a little bit of a discussion to start with. I've been in the health and fitness and the self-defense industry for over 40, maybe going on 50 years now, and having been a competitive boxer at one point, also a martial arts master with Taekwondo, Yun Jin Do and what have you. At the end of the day, apart from having a philosophy of integrity, and same as the old General Choi philosophy, which is quite good, integrity, perseverance, self-control and dominant spirit. Anything you do in this life must be based on integrity-based decisions, including self-defense. So I see a lot of characters on the internet basically trying to play out, reenact a Bruce Lee movie, although Bruce Lee's really probably the master of us all in self-defense, in my opinion. However, even in the Bruce Lee movies, if that was taken into reality, it would be all over with one or two strikes. Okay, so what I'm teaching is instantaneous counterattack, proportionate and legal. Now, recently, I've had to do this quite a few times, fairly recently actually, and it stops them every time. Right, so I won't go into that in great detail on this video. I might put some of my training techniques on the video, but the thing is, at the end of the day, when I talk self-defense, apart from it being proportionate and legally correct, you have a right to defend yourself. But how you go about it and who teaches you is very, very important, because there's a lot of people out there sort of pushing violence as such, rather than neutralizing the situation and then perhaps making an escape or whatever, or controlling the situation, because there's 4 levels of self-defense, right? 4. I've got 4 on my finger here. Can you see it there? Number 1, it's spiritual. It's spiritual warfare. When you're attacked by someone, it's the spirit attached to them that's controlling them. And you can see this when someone's under the influence of drugs. It looks like they're demonically controlled. Well, the reality is they are. Secondly, it's mental. Now, most self-defense situations, they try to intimidate you. In other words, it's a mental battle. They're trying to get you scared, or intimidation, or whatever. And the only way to counteract that intimidation is actually training, and training proportionately and training responsibly, a bit like you would with alcohol, right? Drinking responsibly and etc. Then thirdly, it's legal. You see some of the stuff on the internet, and fair dinkum, if you did that in Australia, you'd be in jail and the criminal would be set free. You only have the right to defend yourself proportionately. In other words, if they come at you, you can neutralize them, but you don't go jumping all over them and put them in hospital, depending on the situation, whether they've got a weapon or whatever. But remember this, it's always Criminal Code, in Queensland anyhow, Criminal Code 1899, look it up, and it says and states proportionate response in self-defense. And the last area is physical. So I'll just repeat that again, for the would-be's, if they could-be's, and others who want to listen to this. Number 1, it's spiritual. And I say that because I've been involved with a lot of different people I've trained over the years, including soldiers, including police and prison wardens and what have you, and they have some pretty horrific stories. And also, my associate at one point, or a friend of mine at one point, was one of the famous commandos in World War II. Larry Delhunty. Some people may know him. He's passed away now, but I remember when I first met Larry, he looked me straight in the eyes. Now, this guy had killed perhaps 300 Japs. Not that we do that these days, but this was World War II on the Kokoda Trail. And he came up to me, Larry came up to me and looked me square in the eyes. And he just stared at me for about 30, maybe it felt like a minute, felt like 5 minutes actually, but it was probably about a minute. And just looked into my spirit. And he said to his daughter, who I was going out with at the time, this bloke would have a go. See, and I said, Larry, what was that all about? And Larry said, he said, son, I can look at someone and know whether I can beat him. And he ran a boxing troupe out west, like a Wild West show with fighters and all that. And he's a bit of a legend. They've written a book about him as well. So, and then the second question I asked him, when he was in action on the Kokoda Trail and various parts of New Guinea, he was a sharpshooter, so he was a forward scout, and extremely good with a rifle. He'd shoot the hat off your head from 100 yards or whatever. And I said to him, how did you go under pressure? Under pressure of, bullets flying everywhere. And he just turned around and looked at me. And he said, Graham, you just kill one enemy at a time. I never forgot that. So in self-defense situation, I'm not recommending that you do any sort of, manslaughter thing, but you focus on one enemy at a time. If someone's attacking you and there's 2 or 3 of them, well, you can be aware of the others, but usually it's the big loudmouth that's going to do you over, or you can see it in their eyes. When I defend myself, and I've done that against criminals with loaded weapons, all this sort of stuff, usually I'm looking in their eyes, and I can see when they're going to react, and usually I beat them to the reaction. So when you look at a character that's got ill intent for you, unless they've got a gun. If they've got a gun, well, you don't look in the eyes. There's something about that I'll tell you later, not this video. But any other situation, be it, they're just aggressively going to do something, you meet them eyeball to eyeball. And usually, if you've got the confidence through training, and they look at you and they know, hang on, this bloke's not going to back down, half the battle's won already. It's a spiritual war, I told you. So I'll just repeat those 4 points again. 1, there it is, it's spiritual. There's spirits controlling people and what they do. Right? You've got to remember, the dark side's controlling a lot of bad people, just as the good side controls the good people, Then 2, it's mental, psychological warfare. They try and beat you, they out-psych you, so to speak. Watching World Championship Wrestling's good, how they out-psych each other. It's a good example, any of what they do. Or Muhammad Ali, for instance, comes to mind. How good he was at out-psyching the opponent, And he said that. He was just trying to get them mentally afraid of him from like he was the greatest and all this sort of stuff. So he brainwashed them while he was, undermining their confidence. There's a lot in that. So that's 2 is mental. 3 is legal. The legal part is proportionate response. Self-defense, unless you do proportionate response, you are the one that's going to go to jail, not them. And in a court of law, they don't care about all the emotion. They couldn't care less. They want facts. Okay, who did what to whom for what reason? And the number 4 is the physical. Now, in the physical, let's get real. If I want to stop someone, I can do it with one well-placed strike at a vital point, without any BS. I've done it many times, and I call it the stinger. So, if you want to stun an aggressor, the cops use a taser gun. Bang, hit you with a shock. I just use an open hand, same thing. Right? I can use it in different ways, but that's what I'll teach you if you do our course. Okay, so it's Graham Healy. I'm an 8th Dan master anyhow in the old Taekwondo days, but I was the original guy who brought Monty Isaac over here to Australia, the Israeli commando, who his system was very much like what I call a Steven Seagal Hapkido system, where Monty was the undefeated heavyweight jiu-jitsu champion of Israel. It's a pretty tough place, Israel, because they're dealing with terrorists every day of the week, and surprise attack all the time. So that's how they train. In my training, you'll learn all the defensive moves, but you're not. I don't put a whole lot of aggression in it. I'm a teacher. I don't need to prove to you that I can stop you, unless you want me to. So my guys that I teach, you know, when I whack a lock on or show them a technique, and they say, gee, you just got it in the right spot. And I said, that's right, because thousands of repetitions get you to get in the right spot. So in real self-defense, we're not looking at competition. We're looking at neutralizing the attack ASAP and getting out of there unscathed. So that's what you'll learn with Healy's instantaneous counterattack. And in that instantaneous counterattack, I've used that several times. I have many stories to tell you, but you'll find out when you have a look at the course. I'm going to run a course shortly, and it'll only be for 6 to 8 people. I'm doing it privately at the moment because the next thing I'm doing, I've already got a med science degree, so I'm looking at studying to be a lawyer as well. So, Juris Doctor they call it. So if you've got a science degree or something like that, you can then shorten up the study for a lawyer. So that's Graham Healy over and out, and we'll give you more information as we go along, and maybe I'll show you some of the techniques that I use to neutralize any sort of attack. Don't care who they are. They all got vital points. Anyway, Graham Healy over and out. We'll give you some more information as we go along. Thank you very much for listening.